I graduated uni when I was 21 and needed to find a way to make money. So I started applying for TV game shows, as you do. And on one of these shows, it turned out that they wanted 5 beginners to teach them how to play poker. So I was on this show. First hand of poker I'd ever played. It was also my first time on TV. It was very intense, but completely fell in love with the game. It just like everything about it spoke to my personality. And then I started like playing more seriously in sort of like 2000, more regularly, at least around like 2007, 2008. And then like really started playing like more major tourneys around 2009, and then had like my big breakthrough in 2010 when I won the EPT, and just never really looked back from there. Very cool. So it's been like the last 10 years of my life. They put out like an advert in the papers and like online, and I think the way a lot of these like game shows and reality shows recruit. And I saw the advert and I was like, would I like to win £100,000? That sounds great. I love games. I'm very competitive. Sounds like fun. So yes. And then and I didn't end up winning that show. And in fact, I played atrociously. Like I misread the board. I didn't notice that there was 4 diamonds out there, and I rivered a straight. My opponent rivered a flush, and like when I then noticed after like saying I raise, basically committing all my chips, I noticed that there were 4 diamonds out there, and I like visibly went. So about like 101 of how not to play is what I did on that show, and then I had like this big meltdown, and it was like made perfect reality TV, but I made a complete fool of myself. But nonetheless, I love the shows. So I love the games so much. I then started like playing down at a local card club. There was the old Gutshot Club in London. Many like old school London poker players might remember that club. And then like started taking the game more seriously from there. It just gave me the freedom. I had like a 9-to-5 job, and it gave me the freedom to quit that job. And what was that like
when you called in to quit? Did you say, "Hey, I'm going to tour the world and play poker professionally"? Like, what are you just like, "I'm not working anymore"? How did that go?
Well, actually, the way it went down, I didn't have the sponsorship deal yet. That was it came like a year and a half, 2 years later, thinking about it. Okay. But fairly soon after. But no, the way it went down was I won a package. There was like a £300 satellite to the 5 Diamond Classic in Vegas. Winner take all. It was like a $19K package, which it was way more than half of my annual salary at this job I was doing. Right. And I won this package, and my boss was like, I'd used up all my vacation for the year, and he was like, you can't go. I was like, well, give me unpaid leave, or so I can go. And he's like, no. So I just quit, because it was like, well, I want to do this. Like, am I really going to pass up a buy into this 15K and 19K package to go to Vegas for the first time? Fuck that. So actually, it was my second time to Vegas, but yeah. So I quit, and then played that. That was the first time I met I remember I met like Negranu and all like the Bingers and all of that crew back in the day, and got to know all of them. It was amazing. And and then I started like from that point onwards. I mean, again, I played terribly I was drawing dead in that tournament.
And what about your parents, family, friends? What were they thinking when you said, "Look, it's either quit my job, go do this," or like, "Sure, you got to go for it"? No way, or like, "I don't know," like how was the support system?
They thought I was insane, but they were supportive nonetheless. I've been very lucky in that regard. My family they've always been remarkably, they'll give me advice and guidance and say, look, we don't think this is a good idea, or we think it is. But ultimately, I think they realize that, when I make my mind up on something, I'm really likely to change it, at least certainly not back then. And so it just, they were just concerned that I was going to like lose all my money or get taken advantage of or something like that. But
reasonable concern.
Yeah, the normal parent stuff, but they were still like really supportive, and they knew how much I loved it. And I don't think they ever expected me to have a conventional career. I was always a bit of a weird kid anyway. So, PokerStars was the holy grail of like achievement for me. I wanted to be on Team PokerStars. They were like the biggest site at the time.
Growing up, I mean, that was
it was like that was the dream. And You know, I felt confident that if I made it into the top 3, they would probably be interested in me anyway. But I knew that first was like what really mattered. So, you know, I was going for that. And, you know, even though in like retrospect, you know, I think I doubled my net worth even by coming 9th, you know, so really I should have been probably selling off more. You know, it was not good bankroll management as I was laddering up, putting it that way. But it was, yeah, it was definitely like a major goal. And I mean, the other thing that came out of it as well was like the media attention. And I'm not talking about just like poker media, like mainstream media attention I had for the week afterwards was like beyond anything I could have imagined. I was like, Daily Mail was calling me, the Sun, the Telegraph, the Times, like you name it. Every newspaper wanted to do an interview, and it was I loved it, but it was very overwhelming. And they, you know, like I was on the front page of newspapers. They were like, oh, you know, because I think I had, you know, good story. Oh, astrophysics graduate, she wins £1 million, etc. And that was pretty nuts.
Yeah, you gotta take a whirlwind tour. You need to probably hire a manager, PR or something like.
Yeah, I did. I thought about getting a PR agent because I didn't really know what the hell I was doing, and I also was aware that it was like a pretty rare opportunity, and you know you can often leverage these things into bigger things. But yeah, it was pretty amazing journey. I hired a coach I had to give a talk like for 3-4 years prior at an event talking about reg actually. And so Igor hired me a coach because I was having another meltdown. He said, let's just get you some professional help with this. And it was really helpful. He you know, the most successful talks typically are like story driven as much as possible. That would be my advice I'd give to anyone who's like, has to give a talk is just like, break it up with stories as much as possible to insert some like emotion and human element, whether it's a happy story, sad story, doesn't matter. Just like stories people love.
Yeah.
And particularly if you're talking about something like poker, which is a bit dry often, you know, throw the stories in and people love it. So that was helpful. And then I'd just given a few. I did this one at Oxford Union, which was just, I can't believe that's on the internet. And it's had like 400,000 views. And it's like one of my least favorite talks I did. It was going so...
Right now saying, oh, she spoke at Oxford. Look at it. People remember.
Yeah. I'm mortified. I can't watch it. Even though the content's actually pretty good, my delivery was so bad because I was just like, I hadn't prepared properly and it was awkward. Is a long story. I mean, people can watch it, but put it this way, I like 5 minutes into the talk, I was like, oh my God, I can't believe I have to stand up here for 45 minutes and do this. I might just pretend I'm having a heart attack so that this can end.